All right, people, welcome to another edition of The Secret Truth, Bobby After Dark, or Bobby at Night. We'll see which one it is this time. Um, but we're going to talk about a couple of things tonight. We're not going to get too deep in the exposure today. If anyone wants to see some real talk, go to the Drax Life episode, which should be posted shortly. Um, about JFK, his life, his past, his political career, and the assassination as well. We did a full episode on that earlier today. So, but tonight we're going to talk about the WWE European Tour. First of all, before I get into the topics, bless up to everyone that's watching this on playback. Thank you for everyone who came into the live chat later this week or earlier last week. Um, there's two people, but that's how you start. You build a community. We're gonna talk and hope one last thing. I hope everyone's winning in life, being successful, happy, healthy. That's how we always go. And my new mantra is gonna be, I have a story for that, but I'll probably tell it on the Drex Life. And the new mantra for this whole universe of shows is don't think about anything, because if you don't think about anything, then everything is funny. And we'll explain. It'll make sense. Go watch the Drex Life and you'll hear the story behind that. So let's start it off straight up with Bill Maher. Um, Tonight's episode, Dana Carvey was the guest. Dana Carvey, Ezra Klein. Sorry, I gotta get the trusty compo out. You gotta always get the trusty compo out. And we had Dana Carvey, who was an absolute riot in this 1v1 interview. Dana Carvey is hilarious. He has the Robin Williams vibe, where it's funny that when you do an interview with him, you have to ask him about two questions. That's it. That's it. And he just takes over the interview. He's funny. He's a showman. He's a showman. That's a skill. It's a talent. Um, and Dana Carvey, old school SNL, old school comedian. Dana Carvey's good. They talked about RFK. His RFK joke was hilarious. That was fucking hilarious. And his Bill Gates story was good. And then funny enough, he was talking about JFK, serendipitously enough. So go check that out. The one-on-one with Dana Carvey, but he just takes over the interview. Physical comedy, doing impressions, doing 15 different impressions. All you have to do is ask him two questions. It's like Jim Carrey, it's like Robin Williams. Just ask him one question and they just go off. That's it. Or sometimes you don't even have to ask them a question and they'll go off. That's hilarious. The monologue, there's a lot of immigration jokes. The Trump depression syndrome bill, which is some ridiculous person in the government introduced a bill about having yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, the monologue was all right. It was all right. There was a lot of immigration jokes, and like how Trump is not really doing anything in the presidency that he promised he was going to do thus far, and Elon jokes. Yeah, but we don't get too political on here. I'm not going to comment either way. That's not what we're about. We're about fun. We're about humor. We're about having a good time, and we're about, let's have it right, we're about exposing private equity in sports, and we're about exposing mm, conspiracies. I would say we could call them conspiracies. I would call them the truth. Fox Mulder in the cut, always, every day. So the panel was Ezra Klein and Andrew Sullivan, and yeah, Andrew Sullivan got pretty worked up about the problems in the Democratic Party, how disappointed he is because they're latching on to all these fringe issues that are alienating the party from the common people, and that's what allowed the Republicans to take power. So that I think that's a very important thing that he said. But you could tell, and there's a lot of truth to what he said. I mean, you don't have to disagree. You don't have to agree with everything he said, but he does have a couple points. And Ezra made a couple of good points. He said Donald Trump and the Republicans in their current form, uh, they resonate more with the common working class folk, which is most of America. Most of America is not Los Angeles celebrities and actors and Hollywood people and athletes, or in New York, like New York rich socialites and hedge fund and trust fund babies. Empty suits that run the financial industry, Wall Street. Most of America is not that. And I think, but both sides try to play the game where they want to appeal to everyone. But I think the Republicans resonated more with that crowd, with just the common, everyday, working 9 to 5, clock punching, as Bobby Heenan said, clock punching humanoid. With the White Sox, he comes to work, he does his job, he grafts hard, he clocks in and he clocks out, and he gives 110%, and then he goes home to his family, or she goes home to her family. Either, yeah, it doesn't matter. Either way, the Republicans connected more with those people, and Andrew Sullivan was getting really worked up about that. And I think Ezra would he agreed with it, and he Ezra made a really great point where he said that the Republicans, their strategy was they want to govern under the cover of chaos. That was a great line by him. So they want people to be distracted by all the glitz and the glamour and the shiny new toys and the award shows and the influencers and the social media and all these videos, and even things like uh something like even sports, it's involved now. So he made a good argument about that, how the Republicans used chaos and distraction to basically pull the wool over the general public's eyes. But I think I would disagree. I would push back a little bit. I think it's just people were tired of being lectured to, being made feel guilty, being told how sad they should be all the time because of there's all these problems going on. I think it was more of that than being manipulated with distractions. So then they get in, then they started talking about, which is particularly in California, but I think it applies to a lot of other of the major cities, the overregulation, where it's so hard to get bills and legislation passed in certain places because it's particularly in California and places like New York, like once again the big cities, the major like blue wall places, I would say, which they talked about. They talked about how even the numbers right now in the blue wall, the the Democratic Party's approval rating is in the gutter. It's like 27%. I think Bill said that's going to be pretty telling when the midterm elections come in. Um, and it's autocratic versus bureaucratic. So the Republicans want to be autocratic. So let's have it right. They're not. No one is a good guy in this scenario because the Republicans want to go to the autocratic route and the Republicans want to go the bureaucratic, the red tape route. It's so hard to accomplish any kind of policy or pass any kind of legislation because the Democrats are always all over it. And there has to be just for something like remodeling your home or installing something like a solar panel in your house. You got to have 15 different inspections to get it done. Why? There's over 400,000 regulatory laws in California. 400,000, you know. And this is just in housing. Yeah, imagine everything else. It's crazy. So, yeah, interesting debate. Interesting debate. You got the autocrats versus the bureaucrats, where they made a good point. Another good point where in the past it was the Democrats that were more free spirited and they wanted everyone to be able to make their own choice and they dictate the way they want to live their lives. And now it's kind of flipped over where the Democrats are just micromanage. They want to micromanage everything. And, but also, which I also would find equally as disturbing, I would say, is the Republicans want to create this autocracy and they want to create a facade and they're distracting people with things. So that's why it's both sides, man. It's both sides. And lastly, the new rules was about Doge. Obviously, Elon is involved, the Department of Government Efficiency, and they went into federal spending and the Department of Defense budget, which is true. So people are losing their jobs in government for things like mail people that work for the U.S. Postal Service and stuff like that. That's a drop in the bucket. You know what's the real the money is in defense contractors. It's in like federal like the big time federal spending, like creating weapons, military, and it's mostly military and defense. That's what if you want to take a Bill had a couple of funny jokes about that. If you want to take a chainsaw to that, take it to that side. Why are you laying off postal workers? That's not going to really do anything. So I think they've only been able to cut like 35 billion out of like a $2 trillion debt. That's I'm going by what I saw in real time. So you can fact check me if I want. I'll fact check in myself after this live. And yeah, I apologize again for I'm a little late here. We had some audio difficulties. I was sorting out. I don't have a producer, man. It's just me. And uh all right, so let's get to more fun stuff. So now real time is out the way. It is a good episode. It is a good episode. Because it was enlightening. I learned a lot. I was educated a lot. Now, obviously what everyone should do when they watch shows like Real Time is write down everything, which I do, and then go and do your own research, see what both sides are saying, do your own independent research, and then you verify everything, or you something pops up and you see something that's like, maybe that wasn't quite the right take. but the jokes were good. There was a comedy segment in the middle that was good too. What was it about? It was about, yeah, like there's this new TikTok trend where people are putting confessions for their pets. I don't know. Someone put it in the comments or in the chat. Educate me on that. I don't know what the fuck this is, but there is a hilarious yeah, where people are posting pictures and they're holding up posters of a confession, like a dog saying, "I'm sorry, I ate your dinner." Like someone plated their dinner, but then the dog jumped on the table and ate the food. Something, yeah, stuff like that. Like I love dogs, love dogs, but they're rascals sometimes. But I like it. And which one was the funniest one? There's a Trump one that was funny. I can't remember. I'll If I remember later in the episode, I'll say it. But that shit was hilarious. All right, let's talk about WWE. SmackDown was tonight. It was in Bologna, Italy. They're doing um, a European tour in WWE. So we're in WrestleMania season. We're on the road to WrestleMania, and on Monday Night Raw they were in Brussels, which is where the John Cena promo. Cody Rhodes interrupted him at the end. So Cena, we all know, we talked about it earlier in previous episodes. Heel turn, first time in over 20 years that he's done this. And then they go to Europe, and Cena did a promo in Brussels, Belgium, and that was the most heat I've ever seen since we're talking like 1998. Easily 1998. My thoughts on it: I like John Cena as a heel, but you could see the look on the kids' faces. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm a softie in my older age now. I don't the children of Belgium that were at this arena, with the crowd was incredible, by the way. So the atmosphere in the international, when WWE goes abroad, is because they only get 2-3 live shows a year. It's not like America where there's Raw and SmackDown are every Monday and Friday. You get dozens of shows. They only get in Brussels, Belgium. They'll probably only get That's probably the only live event they'll ever get this year from WWE. So the crowd was incredible. They were singing. It was like being in a World Cup football match. They were singing, chanting, and the international crowds are always better than the American ones because they always sing. They're always heavily involved, but a lot of it has to do with the scarcity of the events they get. I get it. I'm not knocking the American wrestling fans, but it's just so much. The crowd. There was so much energy and heat in that crowd in Brussels. So, and the same thing in Bologna, Italy tonight or earlier today, because SmackDown was on delay. Um, and I think that's part of the reason why WWE, why Stephanie and Triple H decided to go to Netflix, because then they can do the international events live on Netflix, whereas SmackDown, because it's on American cable, it's on USA, owned by NBC Universal, it's on tape delay, so people, because of the time difference. So if you went on X today, you could get spoilers all over the gaff because it's not going to air until 8 p.m. Eastern in America, and the event took place 6 hours before then. So I think that the international part has a lot to do with the Netflix deal. We had Kevin Owens, so we got Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. at WrestleMania. It's official now after tonight. Kevin Owens is going. Kevin, the feuds Kevin Owens are having, or is having with, um, he this man is sneak attacking everyone. I wonder what the end goal is for his story arc, where he feuded with Sami Zayn. I think he feuded with like the bloodline a little bit when he was paired up with Zayn. Then he feuded with Zayn. Now he's feuding with Randy Orton. This guy's attacking everyone. Every week there's a sneak attack by Kevin Owens, and I think that's going to be a good match. I don't know how good Randy is anymore. He looks great just physically, in terms of shape, but his mobility is still limited. I don't know how good that match is going to be, but Owens, we'll see, because Owens is willing to do crazy shit. So that should be a good match. And Liv Morgan beat Jade Cargill tonight. This is the first time Jade Cargill has been pinned in a one-on-one match in WWE. She's lost tag matches, but she's never lost a one-on-one singles match until tonight, until Liv Morgan beat her in a non-title match. So that's pretty telling. But Naomi interfered and distracted her. So the, that that f- the- it will, that's going to be interesting to follow as well. Uh, you got the Roman Reigns came back. He's been gone for a while. Roman Reigns is back tonight. He got into a slugfest with with, with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, which could turn into a triple threat match at WrestleMania. But another thing that happened in Brussels, um, I know I'm bouncing back and forth between Raw and SmackDown now. Uh, Rhea Ripley, for, Bianca. I think Bianca. This is where you get, I think, some real animosity between WWE, because WWE is there's writing involved. It's the same thing that happens in Hollywood. It's the same thing that happens on quote unquote reality TV, which is not really reality. It's scripted as well. It's all for drama. And there's certain people in the locker room that are jealous and dislike WWE's pushing of Rhea Ripley, because she always gets to headline so many shows and so many events, and while other people are title holders. So for instance, at Io Sky is the women's champion. Bianca is facing her at WrestleMania, but now Rhea Ripley is weaseling her way into that match, because I think that WWE as an organization knows that she's popular with the fan base. So they're going to make it a triple threat match instead of a one-on-one Bianca Io match, which is what originally was scripted to be. But now Rhea is going to get involved in this as well. And Bianca posted on social media, she said, "You don't have to win the Royal Rumble. You don't have to be champion. You don't have to win the number one contenders match. You just have to be Rhea Ripley, and you always get a title shot." There's a little UFC element in there, which I kind of like, actually. By the way, um, just because she's probably the most popular globally. I'm talking globally. Women in women's wrestling in the women's division, they have to find a way to get her into the WrestleMania main event for the women's title. So now she's going to be in it. It hasn't been officially announced, but I guarantee you it will be. From what I'm hearing, from what I'm hearing on the sauces, she will be involved. Excuse me. And what else happened at SmackDown? Oh, Fatu, Strowman against LA Knight. LA Knight doing the road dog punches. Yeah, I like LA Knight. He's good. Fatu is getting a big push. Now he's finally away from the bloodline and he's doing one-on-one stuff. It won't be long before Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, has a one-on-one title match soon. He'll be a singles title holder very shortly. And I missed the rest of SmackDown because of I was watching real time. So I didn't see the last hour until the very end where I saw Roman came back and hit just the entire security team was out and he was fighting Punk and Rollins, which is definitely going to be a match at WrestleMania as well. So, and the last thing, this is going to be the longest. This is going to be the longest part of this. So yeah. Oh, another thing I want to say about wrestling before we move on to USA Panama, how embarrassing we are as a football team. We lost again to Panama, eliminated us for the third straight time in a knockout tournament on U.S. soil at home. Panama has beaten us, has knocked us out of 3 straight tournaments. Think about that. So now it's Mexico and Panama in the final of the Nations League. Even though I don't really rate that trophy that highly, so we can't be losing to fucking Panama. Don't no disrespect to my Panamanian G's, big up, but we can't be losing to Panama at home. That can't happen. But but before we move on, this is the beauty of wrestling. They go to Europe. Everyone loves them. They made a Mona Lisa statue, or not statue, excuse me, like a painting. Someone painted Liv Morgan as the Mona Lisa in Italy, and people were bowing down to it. There's the video. I'll show you the damn video. It's crazy, man. This is the reach. And I've said this on the channel many times. You could drop me in the middle of any country and I'll make friends because I love wrestling and I know it and I'm deeply invested in it. You'll make friends anywhere in the world. Yeah, look at this. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, yeah, look at that. Look at Liv. Look at them. They're bowing down to it. I know they're probably doing it humorously, but still. Look at Liv. That's awesome. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you are, Belgium, Italy, they're going to be in London on Monday. Um and the tickets are not selling. They're not because the European fans don't play this private equity ownership game where they're charging $500 a seats, which bleeds perfectly into USA Panama at SoFi Stadium. The Cronkies, yeah, you know you weren't going to get a night off from the Cronkies. I'm here, relentless. I'm like a pit bull with or like a blue staffy with the lockjaw. Yeah, I ain't letting go. You could shadow ban me all you want. It's Bobby at night, BAN. All you want. I ain't gonna stop. So let's look at this. All the photos. What's happening? What is this shit? The fuck? Oh, I got it. I know where it is. Yeah, look at this. That was the stadium at the kickoff. I know people started trickling in because Americans like to show up late, so it's a soccer match. But look at how empty that stadium is. That's the Kroenke Stadium in Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium, for the USA Panama game semifinal. There's like 100 people there. I hope they lost a ton of money, but it did fill up a little bit more as the game progressed. Everyone showed up late, but I hope this is the problem. Who wants to watch the Nations League, the United States versus Panama? Who wants to pay $500 for a ticket to watch that? If you would just charge 50 bucks, that you would have 80,000 people there, and we would have a great atmosphere for the American team, and we probably would have won the game, because there's no sport in the world where the fans and the atmosphere matters more than in football. But no, you got to charge 1,500, you got to charge $15 for a hot dog. You got to charge $500 for a ticket. It's all free market bullshit. And it destroys the atmosphere, because everyone is like, nah, I'd rather just watch the game at a bar, or I'll watch it at home, or I'll go to a friend's house and watch it. I'm not gonna pay. Who wants to pay $500 to see a Nations League game? Just wait till you see the World Cup. I think I talked about this. The World Cup final, the tickets are $57,000. Granted, those are the best seats, like the VIP box. For one ticket to one football match, $57,000. Whoa. Whoa. But that's it. That's why all these tournaments, everyone wants their tournament in America, which is why Copa America is a South American tournament with only the South American teams. Why was it in America? Why? Because they knew they could get the money. They knew they can. That's why you had that riot in the final, Argentina Colombia. There were that insane riot, which no one talks about anymore. That was a crazy riot outside the stadium, where no one can get in. People were climbing over, trespassing. People that didn't have tickets were sneaking in. They were literally hurting themselves jumping over the barrier. Dude, this is what sports has devolved into. It's the private equity owners want to take the piss out of every fan, every sponsor, every anyone who wants to market it for the pound note. Then you have the players who I sound like a broken record. The players just want to be reality superstars. They want to be social media influencers. They want to be models. They want to be like fashionistas. Yeah, they want to be actors. They want to be Hollywood actors. Doesn't And then you got the fans who all they want to do is take pictures of themselves and do some stupid dance at the game, post it so they can get traction on social media and make everyone jealous. Look where I am. I'm at the game. No one's actually watching the game. It's just people recording themselves or recording their friends or family doing stupid shit. And the people that want to win the most, the coaches, because they get the most shit, because they're the ones who get hired and fired. They get sacked and appointed the most. They're the ones who actually care, but they also want to be personalities as well. It's done. It's dusted. American sports is dusted. It's all like an entertainment Hollywood spectacle now. Doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't matter how hard you play. It's all about image and popularity. It's disgusting. There's no competition about it anymore, except from a very few amount of people who take it seriously as a competition. But other than that, it's all about raising your profile, raising your brand. Those are the people that want the job, they want the shoe deal, they want the media job after their career ends, Sh- like shit like that. It's fucking crazy. So you have USA. We lost to Panama for the third straight time. They eliminated us in the tournament in a competitive knockout stage tournament. Yeah. How the fuck are we losing to Panama for the third straight time at home? All three times at home. At home, pathetic, pathetic. And you want to know why? Because the U.S. Soccer Federation, in congruence with Nike and other sponsors, because they dictate who has to play. And like I said, one thing about the coaches is the managers and the coaches, they want to win. However, most of them are yes men for the private equity owners, so they're restricted. Their hands are tied because upstairs comes directives of who needs to be in the squad, who has to be in the starting lineup, what the tactics and the strategy of the game has to be. And that comes from upstairs. That comes from the directors, the board, and the owners. So the manager's hands are tied. They might not like a certain player, but that certain player is important to the Nike sponsorship deal, so they have to play. Look, the women's team are the biggest offenders of that. Not that the men are blameless, the men are just as they're equally as bad in respect to corporate special interests picking the players that have to play. Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe, and Kelly O'Hara. Why the fuck were they playing in the World Cup for the women? Why? They were all washed at that point. They were all past their prime. I'm not saying you can't have them in the squad as leadership and a bit of experience and guile and know-how. Yes, cool. I'm with that. Why is Alex Morgan starting every single game in the World Cup? And then we wonder why we lost. Why is Megan Rapinoe taking a penalty kick? Missed. Why is Kelly O'Hara taking a penalty kick? Missed. Then you watch, then when Fox goes to commercial, oh, guess who's on the commercial? It's Megan Rapinoe. Had like 7 commercials during that World Cup. Kelly O'Hara commercial. Alex Morgan, forget about it. On every cover of every magazine. Same thing with Pulisic. He's not that good. He's. I'm not saying he's bad. Pulisic is a pretty good player, but he ain't no elite world class player. Timothy Weah, decent. Weston McKennie, decent. He only starts on Juventus because Juventus are shit right now. Timothy Weah in Juve's worst period since I've been following football in 20 years. Juve's worst era right now, the last couple years. Timothy Weah doesn't even play. He barely plays. PSG binned him. These are our superstars. Gio Reyna has played like 7 matches for Dortmund. He's holding bench hard. And these are the players. Oh, get excited! Get fuck off, man. So especially in the women's team as well. I've seen Abby Wambach, although she had her problems after her career. I've seen Abby Wambach. I've seen Mia Hamm. I've seen prime Alex Morgan, which is why I don't want to slander her that much because she was ridiculously good before her injuries. Rapinoe was ridiculously good as well. Tobin Heath. Yeah, ballers. I like Real ballers with technical ability, with skill that can cross, that can dribble, that can shoot. Not just players that are fast and strong, because we got a lot of those now on the men and women's team. All our players are fast and they're strong. None of them can pass. None of them can shoot. None of them can cross a ball properly. None of them can take on anyone one on one and dribble by them. Trinity Rodman is probably the only one. And I would give Pulisic on the men's side. Everyone else is just a power and pace merchant. Sophia Smith is bang average. I think I've gone in this rant already on my channel. I think I've gone in this rant. Yeah. Like we need what we really need to do is focus on teaching technical ability and intelligence and awareness and like that actually being a footballer rather than we're just going to be faster and stronger than everyone. And the only reason we won the Olympics is because Emma Hayes realized, she saw the team and she was like, these players are shit technically. They are shit. But what we are good at is defense. We have a world class defense and we have the best keeper in the world. So you know what? We're gonna win. We're gonna stink out the joint and win every game 1-0 or go 0-0 penalties. Because that's how we won the Olympics. 1-0, 0-0 penalties. 1-0, 1-0. The last 8 competitive games that the US women have played, or I guess you could call the Copa America competitive, the inaugural one. But the last 8 games between the World Cup and the Olympics, which are the two most important tournaments in women's football, 8 games, 4 goals scored. The last 8 games. 4. Where's the attack? I've seen Mia Hamm ball out, and I'm supposed to rate Sophia Smith and Swanson, Mallory Swanson. Get out of here, man. Get out of here with this bullshit. And it's the same thing with the men. I've seen Brian McBride bag for Fulham in the U.S., and I'm supposed to think Florian Balogun is good just because he came through Arsenal. Get out of here, man. I've seen Tab Ramos, John Harkes, Joe Max Moore bagging for Everton and USA. Florian Balogun, Haji Wright. Who are these people, man? This is ridiculous. We are so shit. How have we regressed over 20 years? We had Donovan, we had Dempsey, we did look. Fucking, we did for a little while. We had Graham Susie. Graham Susie was dog shit, and we had Kyle Beckerman was probably the worst player. How Kyle Beckerman, has anyone mentioned his name besides me in the last, I would say, 6 years? I don't think anyone has. Kyle Beckerman is probably the worst player to ever start a World Cup match. I'm not even taking the piss. It probably is. He's the worst player that's ever started a World Cup match. He wouldn't even get into like Iceland's team. Iceland's defensive midfielder is probably clear of Beckerman. Iceland is, I shouldn't even put those two in the same sentence because Iceland is actually decent. Worst American player to ever start a World Cup game. Kyle Beckerman, closely followed by Brad Davis. Brad Davis started against Germany. Wow. It's, I don't even know what to say about that. That's just ridiculous. It just leaves you speechless. Wow. So this is where we're at. We've regressed from 2002 when we made the quarterfinals and we lost. Furthest we've ever gone in the World Cup. And with all the resources and all the money and all the attention and all the support and the population and all the athletes that exist in the United States, how have we gotten worse? We're worse than we were in 2002. And the women are worse than they were. The women are getting progressively worse. We only won the Olympics. Let's go. Let's call out. We only lost because we didn't have to play Spain. We play Spain in that final. We're getting pasted. I'm telling you that right now. And the only reason Spain didn't make that final is because Brazil played the best game that they've ever played since in like 15 years. The Brazilian women. They scored 4 goals in one game. They beat Spain 4-2. They scored as many goals in that one semifinal game than we have in the last 8 important matches. They scored 4 goals against Spain in one game. We've scored 4 goals in the last 8 big international matches. It's nasty work what's going on at the U.S. Soccer Federation, and thank anything you praise, anything that you worship, thank it that Clear Lake Capital took over Chelsea, that we have Emma Hayes because she told them to do one. Because without Emma Hayes, imagine whatever his name, Adamowski, that guy was, he is a puppet. He's a puppet for Nike and U.S. Soccer Federation. So is Berhalter, looking like a hype beast on the sideline. A bald hype beast wearing the Air Jordan 1s. What a clown that guy is. Although Air Jordan 1s are pretty sick. Pretty sick. No, I have a couple pairs. But Berhalter was a clown. And that whole fiasco with Reina and his parents, that's also a shit show. Pochettino, what do you expect? He's Spursy. Ex Tottenham. Tottenham coach for 6 years, won fuck all. And now we were supposed to rate him as a coach. Went to Chelsea, had enough of the ownership as well, had enough of Blue Co and Clear Lake, just like Emma Hayes did. And now they're both the U.S. coaches. That's crazy. One, they were Emma Hayes was the women's coach for Chelsea. Pochettino was the men's coach for Chelsea. Senior teams, both. Now they're both the men's senior coach and the women's senior coach for the U.S. soccer. All because of, you guessed it, Blue Co, Chelsea, and Clear Lake. They didn't want to be yes men, and I respect Poch for that. I do respect Poch for that, but he's still Spursy. He's ex Spursy. He's not. He has no pedigree. What has he done in world football? He's won one trophy with PSG. He even failed at PSG when he had a super team. Emma Hayes, Emma Hayes, winner, born winner. She has like 20 trophies at Chelsea. That's why immediately goes to Olympics, brings the gold medal, because she knew that we cannot score. So we have to never concede. And the strategy worked. Because she's a proper gaffer. Yeah. Real manager. Any other if we hired some stooge from MLS or someone from the NWSL, we ain't winning the Olympics. So Clear Lake, I salute you for that. You gave us you allowed us to recruit and appoint probably the best women's manager in world football. So thank you for that. But otherwise, you can do one as well. Get in the woods. I've had enough of private equity in in world sport, let alone football. They're one of the worst owners in sports, regardless of gender, regardless of country. World sport, one of the worst owners. You can make an argument they are the worst. All right, what we got here? I think we're good. I think we're good. Oh yeah, Houston. One last thing I want to touch on is Houston is trying to buy a hockey team. So someone who just bought Everton, I believe that's correct. He just bought Everton or his consortium, the private equity consortium, again took over Everton, and now they want to create an expansion team in the NHL and have a hockey team in Houston. I've had enough of this. We need to. This is probably one of the main purposes of my channel. We need to really scale back this Wall Street hedge fund private equity takeover of athletics in general, because it's ruining every sport, all of it, because it starts from the top. The the agenda and the, what should I say, the mentality and the culture, the ethos, this is probably the best word to use. The ethos starts from the top down. And if we just hand over every, because the Celtics just got bought. Boston Celtics just got bought by a private equity consortium as well for $6 billion. God, yeah, we're finished. We're finished. The Boston Celtics, I'll tell you right now, they're going to become a modeling agency, a social media platform, and a fashion house. Guaranteed. Once they finish what they're doing, they're going to come in, they're going to gut out everything, they're going to fire everyone, and they're going to make the players fashion models, and they're going and then they're going to run a PR to the high heavens, generational PR. And the fans will just chug the Kool-Aid, just like I said last week. The fans will just keep chugging the Kool-Aid because they're going to be they're going to be distracted, they're going to be starstruck, they're going to be infatuated with the individual players, and it's like, oh, if we lose in the playoffs, I don't care. I don't care if we don't win a trophy. I don't care if we win this game. I don't care about the results of any game. I'm falling in love with this player. I fancy this player. That's what they're going to do. So on that note, we're done. I'll see you next week. Check out Drax Life. Always big up Chris Coro, Joe Mark. We'll be back. I'll be back next Friday. And yeah, more to come. More to come. I'm interested to see what happens this week, because I was pretty tame this week. There was no exposing, but we'll get there. I beg something happens during this international break. You never know what's going to happen, the 24 news cycle. So salute everyone. We'll see you next Friday.